So you're thinking about trying Linux? Great. Before you dive in, let's have an honest conversation. I want to tell you the stuff that people do and always say out loud when they're trying to get you to switch. Here it is. Linux is not perfect, and that's okay. When I first started my Linux journey, I had this weird idea that I had to defend it. If a piece of software didn't work, or if I ran into a bug, I felt like I had to downplay it to pretend it wasn't a big deal. That mindset is completely wrong, and frankly, it's unhelpful. Let's be real. Every single operating system out there comes with trade-offs. Windows has them. Mac OS has them. And yes, Linux has them too. It's a key difference. The thing that makes Linux special is that you usually have way more control over how those trade-offs affect your daily life. But you get to be in the driver's seat. For example, a huge trade-off for many is professional software. If your job, your entire career, depends on one specific tool from the Adobe suite or a particular piece of CAD software that only runs on Windows, you can't just ignore that. That's a real, valid reason to stick with what you know. Trying to find a workaround might be more trouble than it's worth for your specific workflow. And what about gaming? This is a big one. The situation for gaming on Linux is better than it has ever been. It's night and day compared to a few years ago. Thanks to projects like Proton, which is built into Steam, a massive number of your favorite games run beautifully. Sometimes even better than on their native OS. But it's still not a perfect 1-1 replacement. Especially when you get into competitive online games, the anti-cheat systems can be a real headache. Some work, some don't, and some work one day and break the next. It can be a frustrating cat-and-mouse game. So if you're a hardcore esports player, you need to check if your specific game and its anti-cheat are supported before making a full switch. You have to be realistic about these things. So, with all that said, here is my most honest, unfiltered advice if you're about to start your own Linux journey. First, don't switch because you're angry. Don't rage quit Windows after a frustrating update or a crash. If you go into Linux expecting it to be a magical utopia that solves every single problem you've ever had with a computer, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Instead, switch because you're curious. Switch because you want to learn something new, to see how a different philosophy of computing feels. If you approach it with a mindset of exploration and discovery, you're going to have a much better time. Now let's talk about the practical steps. The best way to start your Linux journey today is actually really simple. You don't need a computer science degree. Step 1. Pick a beginner-friendly distribution, or distro. This is just a version of Linux packaged for a certain type of user. Great starting points are Linux Mint or Pop_OS. They are designed to be stable, easy to install, and familiar to anyone coming from Windows or Mac OS. They have great community support, so if you get stuck, help is easy to find. Don't get lost in distro hopping at the start. Just pick one and go. Step 2, and this is crucial. Do not wipe your main operating system right away, please. Don't just delete everything. Give yourself a safety net. The easiest way to do this is by creating a bootable USB drive. This lets you run the entire Linux operating system directly from the USB stick without installing anything on your computer. You can test it out, see if your hardware works, and get a feel for it. If you like what you see, the next step is to set up a dual boot. This means you install Linux alongside your current system. Every time you turn on your computer, you can choose which one you want to use. This way, you can slowly migrate your workflow without any pressure. Step 3 is to actually use it for real things. Don't just install it. Poke around the desktop for 10 minutes and then reboot back into Windows. That won't teach you anything. You have to live in it for a little while. Open the web browser and do your usual browsing. Open the Office suite and write a document. Watch some YouTube videos. Try to install some applications from its software center. Do your normal, everyday computer tasks. This is how you'll discover the small differences and start building new muscle memory. You have to actually immerse yourself. And that brings us to step 4, which is probably the most important one. When something inevitably goes wrong, and it will, don't panic. Don't immediately think, oh, Linux is broken, this was a mistake. Remember, every single Linux expert you see online was once a confused beginner, just like you. The solution is to get comfortable with searching for answers. Type your problem into a search engine. You'll find forums, wikis, and step-by-step guides. Learn to ask good questions. The Linux community is generally very helpful, but you need to explain what you did and what went wrong. Solving your first problem on your own is an incredibly empowering feeling. It's the moment you realize you're not just a user, you're in control. And finally, step 5. Give it time. I'm not talking about 1 hour or even 1 day. That's not enough to overcome years of habit. I want you to commit to giving it a solid week. Use it as your main computer for 7 days. Something magical happens in that first week. It's when your brain stops fighting the little differences and starts to adapt. The new file manager layout stops feeling weird. The different settings menu starts to make sense. That's when Linux stops feeling like that other operating system you're just testing, and it starts feeling like Asterisk, your Asterisk computer. It's a subtle but powerful shift in perspective. I'm about 7 months into my own journey now, and I honestly don't even think about it as an experiment anymore. It's just my computer. It's the tool I use to get my work done and to relax. It does what I need it to do. And most importantly, it stays out of my way. There are no surprise forced updates, no ads in the start menu, no constant nagging. I feel more in control of my digital life than I ever did before. And I think that feeling right there is the real reason people fall in love with Linux and stick with it for years. It's not because it is trendy or because it is free, though that is a nice bonus. It's not even because it's objectively better in every single way, because as we've discussed, it's not. People stay with Linux because it feels like it respects them, treats you like the owner of the machine, not just a customer renting a service. It trusts you to make your own choices. So if you're watching this video and you're on the fence, unsure if you should take the plunge, here's the absolute truth. The single hardest part of your entire Linux journey is just deciding to start. That's it. After that, it's not a scary technical nightmare. It's just learning. And learning isn't something to be afraid of. It's growth. You don't have to become a programmer. You don't need to memorize hundreds of terminal commands. You don't need to understand how the kernel works on day 1. You just need to be curious and you just need to begin. Who knows, 7 months from now, you might be the one making a video like this, telling someone else how to start their own journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.